Richard Corbett, MEP for Yorkshire and Humber in the UK, following what can only be categorised as a very poor night for Labour on the 7th of May 2015. You're here tonight at an event that looks towards the future of the EU. Where do you think it's going following the result in the UK?
Much depends on what happens next in the UK itself. We now have a majority Conservative government committed to hold a referendum, and before that to try and secure some reforms in the EU, but they've not spelt out exactly what it is they're trying to seek, not in detail. So much will depend on what they put on the table. Is it realistic, or is it actually an attempt to essentially blackmail the EU to get a conservative Europe and then force the British people to choose between a conservative Europe or no Europe, without offering any alternatives, not even the status quo?
Is it safe to say that you believe that is what in fact they are doing?
Well, remember why this is happening. It's not because of some great democratic principle that Mr. Cameron believes in. It was because his party is so divided, split down the middle on Europe. Underneath the surface there's been a civil war. He was able to postpone that until after the general election by saying, after the election we'll negotiate some reforms and then we'll put it to the British people. Well, the election has happened. Now they need to spell out what reforms they want to seek, and whether he can reconcile the extreme right of the Conservative Party that wants to leave under any circumstances with the more moderate wing, and indeed also those close to business who think, oh, this is a little bit risky. That is going to be a tall order for him, especially with such a narrow majority.
Let's talk about potential extremism. Nigel Farage today has re-accepted, apparently, the leadership of UKIP. The party simply demanded that he didn't go. Now, first of all, do you feel that UKIP forced Cameron's hand concerning Europe, and will they therefore continue to do so?
I think it's Cameron's own right-wing backbenchers that forced his hand into changing his mind completely on the idea of having a referendum and the idea of what he might want to renegotiate in Europe. That was an internal Conservative Party split. As to Farage, well, he told us a few weeks ago that if he lost, he'd go, and now he's engineering his own party to beg him to stay. Are you surprised?
Am I surprised? I'm not sure it's relevant whether I am or not. Mr. Farage is certainly somebody who is renowned for theatre. I feel it's another example thereof. As far as Labour is concerned, following the election, how well do you feel you're going to be able to regroup and reform in the weeks, months and years ahead?
That's the big challenge for us, and I think we are determined to make sure that what happened this year in 2015, looking ahead to 2020, will be similar to what happened in 1992, looking forward to 1997, when we then came back and won an overwhelming majority.